Hey guys, Ruckus Gaming here, coming at you with another episode of Tuesday Tips and Tricks. Today we're going to continue our series, What the Hell is Up with That, by talking about Coffee Dripper. This series is going to be all about the energy relics at the end of each act that you can be offered that have some pretty intimidating downsides. We're going to start with Coffee Dripper because I think it's probably one of the best of the energy relics. I think that despite how scary not being able to rest might be, especially to newer players, the benefit that you get and the cost that you have to pay and the many ways that you have to negate that cost to make it be a very small cost to pay as well make Coffee Dripper a very easy, high quality relic to take in many situations. This is not a niche take. This is not a, worst of three evils, that you take out of desperation. This is a legitimately very, very strong relic. So I wanted to give a quick review of a run I just had on Ironclad. We'll get some MVP relics and cards both before and after Coffee Dripper. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. You can see the seed here is Ironclad. One of the relics that helped me take this Coffee Dripper is, of course, Burning Blood, the Ironclad starting relic. This gives you free heals at the end of each combat, which is a nice form of sustain over the course of a run. You can heal quite a bit of HP. It doesn't mean that you need to heal for 6 on every combat. You might lose much more than 6 in some combats, but over the course of the run, you'll probably have many more combats where you don't lose HP, and over the course of several combats, you can heal back 6, 12, 18, etc. HP over the course of time. So even one really bad elite that knocks your health down is not too bad. Black Star also pushed me a little bit towards Coffee Dripper just because now I am very encouraged to chase elites, and unfortunately the path with the most elites often does also not have very many campfires. So I figured if I am not going to rest at campfires, I don't really need to path towards them. I can keep pathing for those elites, and I can negate the loss of resting by just not going to campfires anyway. Just like if you get a cursed key and you don't open the chest, you basically get free energy if you don't need to rest and you just keep going right by those campfires. For the MVP cards that I had before I took this Coffee Dripper, number 1 is Reaper. This is really what made this Coffee Dripper takeable. I knew that I had not only my starting relic, but I had some scalable healing in my deck. To go along with this Reaper, I also had Spot Weakness to scale up my strength when the enemy is attacking me, and Flex for some free temporary strength each turn I draw it. I was also working up my Ritual Dagger, which was around 60 damage at the end of Act 2, so I could get quick kills when necessary. After I picked up the Coffee Dripper, some of the best relics I got were Nunchaku. Gave me extra energy. I wanted to play lots of attacks and kill quickly, so this just gave me free energy for doing something I already wanted to do a lot of anyway. Strawberry was great for raising my max HP. Even if I couldn't heal, I could increase my HP. Pennib made ending combats quite easy, either with a large Reaper for a big heal or a double large Ritual Dagger for very significant single target enemy damage. Meat on the Bone was another great source of sustain that kept us healed up if we dropped a little bit too low. And even if we did go a little bit low, that wasn't too bad because that gave us strength. So we often wanted to kind of ride that happy medium where we drop below 50 HP in a combat using our offerings, and then benefit from the strength, kill, and heal up. After picking up the coffee dripper, some very late additions to the deck that just made additional use of the coffee dripper's extra energy and minimize its cost were Barricade. This allowed us to play even more defensively, using all of our exhaust and block to build up future block for when we didn't have any more skills left and we just wanted to kill. Several copies of Feel No Pain made our exhausts even more valuable because they were getting out of our way and getting us some block that we could store with Barricade. Exhume put in a lot of work getting some of our most valuable cards back into our hand, allowing us to double scale up our Ritual Dagger against multiple enemies in one single combat. We could get double heals off with the Reaper. We could even get another offering just to make sure we draw all the way down to the bottom of the deck if we were bottom decking something really important. So, very versatile card that filled lots of roles throughout the run. Always great to have this in any Ironclad deck. Finally, Bloodletting was a great source of extra energy. I wasn't afraid to lose lots of HP with the multiple offerings that I had and playing Bloodletting multiple times because I knew I could always get that strength up really quickly, get a big Reaper off, and heal up as much as I wanted. So when you do have some sustain in your deck, you want to make sure that you're actually using it. If you're always riding at 100% HP, you're not actually getting the value out of your sustain. It's kind of, quote unquote, overhealing. You're not getting the value of it. So make sure you're actually using your HP. It's a resource. All right. With all that said, without further ado, let's take a look at some elite fights and the heart just to see this deck in action. Starting off here with Giant Head. Because of the slow debuff, the first thing I wanted to do was make sure I could maximize my card play. I wanted to draw as much as possible into my hand before using Battle Trance and then negating any future draw, so I was kind of carefully going over that. At the end of the day, I'm looking for my Ritual Dagger, so now I'm just trying to find ways to scale up and play enough cards to make that a turn 1 lethal Ritual Dagger. I do play the Spot Weakness here, even though it doesn't do anything, but it's not technically a misplay. I actually wanted to put it back into my hand with Headbutt, getting ready to use it for next turn. But as I was getting close to the last of my energy, I realized I was just able to kill right now. Such is the strength of my Ritual Dagger with the slow and the vulnerable. Briefly thought about trying to find the Reaper, but I've got enough HP. For the Act 3 boss, we're going up against Donu and Dekka. Probably the best of the three options, but not the best draw to start. I am going to lose some HP here, but because of my scaling, because of the Reaper, I'm not too worried about it. I'm confident that I'll be able to get a nice big heal off later. Also, I will be going into Act 4 and full resting, so I'm not too worried about my HP. I am kind of worried about these artifact stacks on Donu and Dekka. I was hoping to get maybe an uppercut or a bash there to start working those off and maybe use a disarm here, but couldn't find it, unfortunately. I finally do get my uppercut, and with all of the Feel No Pain and Dark Embrace with my exhaust, I'm getting these nice big hands full of attacks. Still can't find that ritual dagger though. Do get rid of the artifact charges. Digging around for valuable cards. Looking to put an exhume back in my hand. Can't find ritual dagger with secret technique, but you can draw with the exhaust. Even if I didn't get it there, Master of Strategy would have drawn the last 3 cards in the deck. So now that I know I have lethal on one of them, Donu say goodnight, and I'm actually going to exhume and pull that right back. That was a common trick in any multi-enemy combat during the whole run. If at all possible, I was using exhume to get that ritual dagger back and play it twice. Very important to do if you have one of those permanently scaling cards. Always play it in each combat as many times as you can. Here again, stuck in a situation where I can't use those disarms because he's still got those artifacts, unfortunately. Best I can do is heal for 16. Not too bad. And it does get us into a bash for 1 artifact. But still just trying to find a way to get to that ritual dagger quickly now that I've used that Reaper to heal. Headbutt, reach, but the flex, I think that was a misclick. But we will end this quickly, don't worry, sweet little Deca. All that work and still nothing, but we got it on the next turn anyway. Goodbye, Deca. Alright, we are starting off Spear and Shield. We're going to get a quick Feel No Pain and Violence off to start, and then after quite a long think, we are eventually going to decide to go after Shield first. Play a couple of attacks, and I think I eventually do end up turning around and going for, or heading, facing towards Spear, though I think I actually should have just stayed facing towards Shield. I would have taken 2 less damage, 26 versus 28. Next turn is pretty simple. I feel like you always need to play Spot Weakness when you draw on a turn the enemy is attacking, because they always have those turns where you draw and they're not attacking. So when it is usable, I think it must be used. Almost full block, and I'm not too worried about it. I'm banking on getting a heal from Reaper later, so now I'm playing my setup cards, getting my powers into play, though I end up biting myself in the ass, get a little too greedy. After a bit of thinking, I use that secret technique to get the exhume. I end up drawing the ritual dagger along with it, but this is where it kind of goes wrong. Instead of just ending the combat with ritual dagger right now, I end up stalling, hoping to get off a heal with Reaper, and in the long run, it ends up costing me a lot more HP than I think it was worth. I think I end up with a little bit less HP, actually. So, bad play. Goes to show I shouldn't have gotten greedy. I should just have ended it here now. And it'll take a minute or two to play out, but you'll see. I have the ritual dagger and offering in my hand, but I am just completely blind. I am not seeing it, and I don't know why. Watching this back in the editing is painful because I should have ended it here and taken no damage, and I could have gotten that Reaper heal and been better off. But unfortunately, I ended up not seeing it. I went blind on my focus and ended up taking a couple more turns. Able to block that one, not really so much able to block this one. Tried to draw into something to debuff so I could at least use the disarm, but didn't really happen, so just kind of had to eat it here. Used the spot weakness for some strength, got the last artifact off. Initially thought about using this elixir to maybe block with Feel No Pain, but wanted to save that for the heart fight. So I kind of just eat it and wait until I have just enough to kill, which will be next turn. Alright, and now we are closing out with the heart fight. Happy to see one of our most important powers, Feel No Pain, right off the start. Seek for that offering just to see if I can get a nice big turn. Don't draw anything super special, but I am happy to get a bash early on for that added damage. I use a battle trance to draw, so I have more options to headbutt back into my hand. I want to have flex for strength on as many turns as possible. Again, checking that discard pile for my next headbutt, and I end up going for more consistency, bigger draws with battle trance. And because I'm very wary of the multi-attack, I want to play that disarm now, and ends up being a very smart move, because after the heart puts those status cards into our deck, it is the multi-attack, but because of our strength down, because of that disarm, we are in good shape, not worried about any block this turn. I'm just trying to do my best to get my setup cards doing a little bit of damage, but not very much yet. Draw the void there, but I'm not too upset about it because this is a pretty low intensity turn. Trying to make the most out of the cards I have here. This side I don't really want to wait for the pommel to grow any bigger with my strength. Hopefully the fight won't go on too much longer. Here I'm going to choose to be greedy. I'm not going to play this ritual dagger yet. I'm very much trying to save that for the final hit, so I don't want to use it now. Draw into yet another Feel No Pain, which I'm always happy to see. Get some more block with a power through. And unfortunately, I waste my elixir potion here. I completely forgot that I had the med kit and I could just play these cards and exhaust them normally without wasting a potion, though the potion does end up being enough to full block, so at least it did what I needed it to do. Here is kind of a dead turn. I do finally get to the barricade that I skipped playing on turn 1, and excuse me, I'm a little nervous about playing this disarm because I know that there's something funny about if you debuff the heart on its buff turn, it'll get even more strength instead of less. So played it safe there, didn't do much. Again, another very basic setup turn there. Do take a bit of damage, so now I am very interested in ending this combat as quickly as possible. Also, perhaps looking for a heal. I am pretty desperate to get that artifact charge off, so I go as far as using that potion. I am looking to hopefully draw into an uppercut or a bash or something I could use to get off the artifact charge that's still on there. Searching with draw from Dark Embrace by exhausting with Purity. Still not getting it. I am getting quite a lot of block, and I'm beginning to consider things that I can bring back with Exhume. Probably should have cleared some hand space before playing that offering. That was kind of silly of me, but I was in a little bit of a panic. I was trying to find anything I could to get that final artifact charge off. I do have 2 disarms. I could play both of them, but I don't really want to do that. Eventually do go get that offering one more time, now with more hand space, though I do get lots of extra draw from Dark Embrace as well. Scale up my strength with spot weakness, finally get the bash I want. There's the disarm to take down some strength, get more energy back, another disarm, more strength down, and now I've got a really nice position to get off a big Reaper and get a nice heal off of the heart. Not quite as much as I could have. Perhaps maybe I should have waited for that pen nib, played one more attack, but it might be hard to get back to that Reaper on demand again. Now that I reduced all of his strength with the disarms and I've got that barricade in play, I've stored up tons of block and I'm feeling much more confident. I know that I want to kill with that ritual dagger if possible, so I'm still sitting on it, not using it to do the damage I could right now, but I am starting to work my way down and get the heart dead. Here I'm taking 50 damage or thereabouts, but because of all of that barricade block we have stored, don't really care about it. Just trying to play as many cards as possible, reapplying bash for extra vulnerable damage, and digging for our best cards, mainly ritual dagger. We finally do draw the ritual dagger, but unfortunately it's not enough to kill right now. And despite having that barricade block, I know the heart will quickly scale up even faster, so I decide to stop stalling, stop wasting time. I go for the ritual dagger to weaken, little extra block for insurance, and we will kill next turn. Now that we've seen this deck in action, let's take a look at some relics and cards that we didn't see this run, but could have been really nice, and you should keep an eye out for in your own coffee dripper runs. Bag of Preparation is great in just about any kind of deck, but especially a deck like this that really thrives on having a big, strong turn one, drawing lots of cards, getting your powers, and then quickly killing after you've got everything you need set up. A deck with as many powers as this one would never say no to a mummified hand, which would lower the cost of other cards after playing each power. Gremlin Horn is great when it comes to creating consistency in a deck, granting you extra energy and draw every time you kill an enemy. When it comes to scaling and playing lots of attacks, Shuriken is Ironclad's best friend. And when you're talking about exhaust on Ironclad, you always want to see Dead Branch. It might be hard to see why adding random things into your hand might be good, but overall, in general, the benefit that it adds in the short term by giving you powerful new additions that you don't already have but may need, it greatly outweighs the long-term consequence of filling your deck with random trash, as they say. For some very valuable IC cards that we missed, let's take a look at. True Grit is a staple to any deck, and upgraded, allowing you to choose what you exhaust, is very strong, especially if you're throwing in draw and block on top of it with something like Dark Embrace or Feel No Pain. Burning Pact is another very quality, uncommon IC card. Coupling exhaust and draw together, added with any Feel No Pains or Dark Embraces you may already have, is even better. With all of the offerings that we played, as well as the Bloodletting Rupture, would have been a very fast way to scale up for us. In an exhaust deck, cards like Sentinel can provide block as well as energy. A strength deck is always happy to take in a limit break, especially upgraded when it becomes reusable and you can double your strength multiple times. Exponential scaling gets out of hand very quickly. Each separate hit will be affected by your damage, so Fiend Fire is a great card to have when you're playing with lots of strength scaling. And of course, Corruption is always welcome in any Ironclad exhaust deck. You take Corruption if you see it. Well, guys, I hope that was informative and helpful. I know that a lot of players initially are a little hesitant to take Coffee Dripper. They really want to lean on those campfires to heal after fights. And I hope this was a great way for you to see that your HP is a resource. You shouldn't be afraid to spend it. You should take some damage. You don't always need to ride at 100 HP or 100% or close to it. You do want to have more than 50, hopefully, but if it's a little less than 100, don't rush to the next campfire immediately. Take it easy. Don't worry about it. As always, thanks for watching all the way to the end. We're going to continue this What the Hell is Up with That series with even more energy relics, looking at other characters as well. If there are any more achievements or challenges that you guys are interested in, please drop it in a comment. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And as always, have a great day. Thanks for watching Ruckus Gaming.